Hello, my name is Zach Whalen and I'm a professor at the University of Mary Washington. I'm recording this video for my creative coding students. So that is students in my summer 2023 course, DGST 302 Creative Coding. This is an intro to this class, and in this video I'm going to give you a brief overview of the class, talk about some of the resources you'll need to start looking at and working through, and also give you some instructions for your first day. This is a 5-week class, so we're going to cover a lot, and in this video I want to show you some things to get you started. Today is a little bit about foundations and beginnings and lots more to come, but this should be a good start. I did a live stream also on Twitch, and if you've seen that already, then this will be a little bit redundant, but not entirely redundant. So please do watch the rest of this video. I'm going to try to keep it short. Also, I just noticed my webcam is doing a strobe thing. I don't know why. I don't really like that, but I don't feel like trying to fix it right now. So stay tuned. This being the first day of class, an overview properly starts with taking a look at the Canvas course. There's still quite a bit that I'm adding to the course, but if you look at the homepage for the course on Canvas, you'll see that there's quite a bit of structure already here, and we're going to be headed towards a lot of pretty advanced, pretty interesting projects. There are two basic kinds of things you'll be doing here. There are projects and there are exercises. There are 5 weeks of this class and 5 projects, so about a project per week. Not about exactly a project per week, and then there are 3 or 4 exercises required for each week, and then there will be additional optional exercises. These exercises often do result in a product that you will turn in, but not always, and these are things that will help you prepare for the big project for that week. They'll help you develop the skills that you are working toward that week. So some of them are kind of different, some of them are right in track with the thing, and it's really just to try to broaden your sense of what you're capable of doing in terms of code. Week 1, we're going to be focusing on foundations, and since this is a class where you will be doing a lot of JavaScript, the foundation has to do with just the basics of HTML and CSS, just to make sure you have that grounding, and then also to set up your workspace for this class. I'm going to ask that you use GitHub for this, and I'll show you how to do that tomorrow. That'll be your main task for day 2. This is day 1 that I'm recording this on. But going through this, we're going to be working through this pretty quickly and getting into P5.js, which is a JavaScript library. So it'll be JavaScript code, but doing it within the options and functions made available to you through the P5 library. So that's the basic overview of where we're headed. In general, creative coding, right? So it's this idea that you can do interesting things with computers by writing instructions, and that's what you're going to be learning how to do in this class. If you come to this class with no prior programming experience, that's totally fine. If you come to this class with a lot of programming experience, that's totally fine too. For all of these projects, there will be different levels of challenge or different kinds of things you can do. But as much as possible, I'd like for you to think of it in terms of what is the thing I want to do, and then how do I find the code that gets me there. Don't think of it in terms of like easy mode, middle, easy, normal, hard mode, or whatever, or like extras in terms of difficulty, but think of it in terms of what your creative idea is. Like, how do you follow your ideas with code? That's the basic premise that we're hoping to pursue here. So yeah, let's take a quick look at the syllabus. Syllabus has a lot of information in it. Obviously, it's a fairly verbose syllabus, as I tend to do with these. A couple of things just to kind of highlight. So as I mentioned, projects and exercises, 5 projects. There's actually 4 projects, and then the 5th is going to be one that you design yourself. Like, you come up with the idea and then you do it. Exercises, these are small, low stakes kind of things. They will just be kind of complete or incomplete graded things, but they are there. So please do them. Other assignments, there will be researching different people in the creative coding community and telling us about them. I will ask you to put all your work together in a portfolio. I will ask you to keep track of a notebook throughout the semester, so think about how you want to do that, and then there's a few extra assignments that you can do for extra credit, basically. The only sort of unusual thing to call attention to here on the syllabus, I think, is the bit here about generative AI. So please do not use ChatGPT to generate code for you, or even things like Copilot in, I think that's available in VS Code, but it's a thing that you can use AI to write code for you. The thing is, if you are learning code, those kinds of tools actually kind of don't help, because they give you a shortcut towards something that might not be what you wanted it to do, and if you don't understand where to put that snippet of code or what it's actually doing, you're not actually going to learn anything, and actually you probably won't be able to get it to do what you want it to do. So I really don't want you to do that for right now. There is a role for that. I think that does have some possibly interesting applications, but for now, for this class, you'll be better off if you don't use it, so please don't use that for this class. If you do, or if you find snippets of code elsewhere, which is a similar kind of thing, if you find a snippet of code that works for you, just always make sure you document your source. Like use a comment to explain where you got that material. We'll talk about that once we get into some actual coding. Okay, so that's the basic overview for the class as a whole. You're going to be doing some coding, you're going to be sharing your coding, and your projects are going to be posted online using the GitHub platform. So that's the big picture for the class. Okay, so this class is asynchronous, which means that you can do things at your own pace, but I do recommend that you do things in the order that I present them, and I've tried to organize things so day by day there's a reasonable amount of work and then it prepares you for the next day. So this being the first day, there's a few things that I definitely recommend you start with. Even if you're doing this after the first day, you should still start here and then proceed through those other things. All right, so first of all, you do need to join our Discord server. There's an invitation code that I sent you. You need a Discord account first. If you don't already have one, go to discord.com and sign up. It's free. And then click the link in the email that I sent. I'm not putting the link on Canvas because this is a public course and I don't want just random people clicking that link. It should only be people in the class. So click on that and then jump on into our Discord server. So this is what our Discord server looks like. You should take a look through the rules here. One interesting thing about our Discord server, which you may not be used to, is that there are actually two classes using the same server. I'm teaching DGST 101 at the same time as this class, Creative Coding. So bear that in mind, that sometimes your audience, the people that you see here, might not be in your class. They might be people in a different class. But if you look over here in the categories sidebar for Discord, you've got a Creative Coding set of channels, and you've got a Creative Coding and a DGST 101 set of channels. Obviously the Creative Coding one is the one that we are interested in for this class. So once you've joined Discord, please introduce yourself. You can use the general channel like I have here. If you've never used Discord before, it's pretty intuitive, I feel like. You type messages here. This is I have a loud keyboard, sorry. This is a Discord message and it shows up like that. And then once somebody has already posted a message, I'm kind of in the way. If I move over here, you can see over here on the right, you can add a reaction to a message that someone else has posted. Please do that whenever you see people posting. It's a quick and easy way to show someone that you read their message and they will feel good about that. You can also reply to it. And then if you want to, this is helpful if you want to reply to a message that's not the most recent message in a thread. This is a reply. If you ever want to address someone specifically, like me, you can always type @ and then at their name, and then that will show up as a message to them, and they'll see that. That'll stand out to them. They'll show up as a red dot on the sidebar for that person. It'll also send them a push notification, probably, depending on their settings. Speaking of settings, if you've never used Discord before, it will send you notifications about everything happening in Discord. I do recommend downloading the app on your phone and also downloading the desktop client. I'm using the browser version right now because it's easier for me to record it for the screen, but you're going to get a lot of notifications potentially from this, and so I recommend going up here and checking your notification settings once you get settled into Discord. And I usually actually set mine on only @mentions so that I only get push notifications if someone mentions me, but for now, since we're getting started here, I'm going to set it on all messages so I can see them all. It will be set to all messages by default, so like you probably want to switch it to @mentions only for yourself, just for your own, sanity. But whatever you want to do, totally fine. So that's Discord. So the next thing that you should probably do is complete the instructions exercise. You need to do these things in order because you need the Discord server to complete the exercise. So let me show you the exercise and talk through what I'd like for you to do. It's over here under the assignments. It's also linked from the homepage. The basic idea here is this does not involve any coding or programming. But the idea is to try to come up with some instructions that someone else will follow in order to create a drawing. So what I recommend is, first of all, try out one or both of my examples. Draw a circle anywhere on the page, draw another circle, making sure that it does not overlap with the first circle, and continue drawing circles in this manner until the page is filled. If you follow those instructions, you will produce something like this. I did it earlier on my live stream, and so I made a piece of art using those instructions. My art is going to look different from yours if you follow those instructions, and that's kind of the idea, just to see how the instructions are different than the execution of those instructions. And that's something that we'll experience in terms of code eventually as well. So follow my instructions, take a picture of it, share it in Discord, and then come up with your own instructions for someone else to follow. And if you do that, I will try to follow your instructions and come up with a drawing that is matching your ideas for that. But the idea has to do with thinking about it and coming up with an idea. I've got some inspiration here, some things you might want to look at to think about. These are some wall drawings by Saul Lewitt, and these are drawings where he would come up with the instructions. Like this first paragraph, this is what he would describe to someone basically, and then they would try to execute it based on that description. And so this is the Massachusetts Museum of Contemporary Art, I think, and so it's an exhibition of a lot of his works. Some of these are very, very large, and some of them, even with very simple instructions, can produce these really massive and complicated and interesting pieces. They're very impressive in person. I haven't seen this exhibition, but I've seen several of his works in person. They're monumental in scale, some of them. There's a really big one, an interesting one at the Richmond Museum. I forget the official name of that museum, but the one in Richmond. It's nice. You should go. So these are this is the inspiration. And so if you're trying to figure something out, take a look at that. I've also got a book here by Yoko Ono called Grapefruit, which includes some instructions as well. They're kind of poems and kind of instructions, kind of interesting. So another sort of piece of inspiration that you might find helpful. So that's what I'd like for you to do to complete the instructions exercise. Again, try to complete that today if you can. Next, we are going to be doing mostly JavaScript in this class, but JavaScript is part of the web and it's built around HTML and CSS, so I think it's going to be helpful to learn some HTML and CSS as well. And what I'd recommend for that is take a look at, so on the home page for the class, I've got links to Learn HTML and Learn CSS. These are 2 syllabi from Codecademy, and these are pretty good. I mean, there's lots of different versions. Let's see. Let me just start over with that link. So let me see, I was playing with this earlier on my live stream, so it's kind of taken me into it a little bit, but if you just complete this introduction to HTML, so it's really just this first 16 lesson introduction, I think that would be a good start. And for CSS, you know, maybe the setup and syntax one is pretty good. If you can get through that one, I think you'll be pretty good. You know, the first couple of things. This is not a class on web design. We're not really going to be developing with HTML and CSS, but it needs to be there in the background in order for JavaScript to work. So I think just getting some orientation on that would be helpful. Don't worry about where we're going to put it yet. We'll deal with GitHub tomorrow. But for today, just kind of get some exposure to HTML and CSS, and you'll be better prepared for that as we start building on that for the actual projects and exercises. Okay, and then finally, speaking of GitHub, you should go ahead and make an account on github.com. If you already have one, fine, you don't need to make a new one. Just go to github.com and sign up. It's free. GitHub is well, I guess this whole thing is going to take you through and explain how it works. GitHub is a website that uses Git, which is a versioning software that lets you keep track of the status of a particular project. GitHub lets you share those projects online, and that's where how you're going to distribute your work and share it with other people. So if you want to go ahead and play around with it, you can. There's not much to do until you actually have a repository set up. There's also a desktop client for GitHub. You can go ahead and download that. I'm going to do a whole thing on Git tomorrow, but for today, go ahead and sign up for a GitHub account. It's free and just takes a minute just to have that in there. And that's it. So if you can complete these 4 things, you will be in pretty good shape for the first day of the first week of Creative Coding Summer 2023. So that's it. Like I said, I just wanted to do a quick intro and overview of all the things that you need to work on for this week and for this day to get us started with creative coding in summer 2023. I will be live streaming from 10:30 to 12:30 on Monday through Thursday this week. I'm calling those my live stream office hours. During those office hours, I'll kind of work through things. I should have some instructions and things for you to follow and work through on your own before then. So what you might want to do is try those things first, and then if you have questions, tune into the live stream. You can ask those questions. I might end up adjusting that schedule depending on how much time I actually have tomorrow morning to put things together. So check your announcements. Check the announcements that I send through Canvas, and I'll also post those on Discord. And I'm really excited about this class. Thanks for signing up. I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to see what you come up with.